Hey, what's up, guys and gals? So we are here with a very brand new episode on in the Basic of Astrology series. In the previous episodes, we had covered in the seventh house and the aspects thing. And I hope that I succeeded in like enlightening you people more about the aspects. And I personally tried my level best to make aspects as crystal clear as possible. I probably by giving the examples and drawing this stuff, making use of the charts, tried my level best to make it a child's play for you. Now rest, it depends on your efforts. Still, if there's any misconception, there are any doubts, you are always open to connect me on Facebook, or you can place me an email, or you can put a comment down below in any of the videos, especially the aspects one, since we are talking about that, and I'll possibly get back to you. Now, finally, talking about this episode. In this episode, we are talking about one of the most important concepts, and it is what you can say. It is the root, the foundation of Vedic astrology. And people who are not well versed with this principle, they actually meet up. They actually cannot make the right predictions. So this is where they start saying things like Vedic astrology is a total sham. There aren't any things. The planets, nobody can tap into the future, it's all in our hands, because they haven't studied things to that in depth that that they can possibly realize that how astounding, how miraculous this science of Vedic astrology is. It is a gift of God to the human, and we are not leveraging that gift that is He so willingly has endowed on to us. And although this concept of degrees in nakshatra is kind of very difficult to, I should not say very difficult, but it's kind of very difficult concept. But I'll try to make it easy for you people by giving the examples and by explaining you through the visualization concept, that is through the Vedic charts. Now, people, you must have regularly seen that. When you see your Vedic chart, you must have found out that your moon was placed in the sign of Cancer, and yet you must have thought like, no, I don't react like a Cancer moon. I rather behave like as if my moon was placed in Leo or my moon was placed in Gemini. So why is it that? And the other thing is that while I may have my moon in Cancer, and the other people and some other person also has a moon in Cancer, right? But we both feel that we are quite different from each other. Our thinking pattern, that is the moon is the mind, our thinking pattern is like we are the two opposite ends of the rod. Why is it that? And this is where degrees in nakshatras come into play. And what are degrees in astrology? Especially like if somebody says that he has its moon in the sign of Cancer, and the other person says too that he has moon in the sign of Cancer, but this person may have it. Now before I get ahead with this, let me tell you that each house in Vedic astrology is each sign in Vedic astrology, or each house, I should not say each house, but each sign in Vedic astrology is of 30 degrees, from 0 to 30 each sign. And likely there are 12 signs, so 12 into 30 is equal to 360 degree. That is, it's the full circle, that is the sky above us, right? So while this person may have his moon in Cancer, and I may have my moon in Cancer too, but we may have it at different degrees. While he may be a 5-degree Cancerian moon person, I may be a 15-degree Cancerian moon, or somebody other might be a 26.5-degree Cancerian moon. And this is why we react in a different manner. And there's no solution when it comes to Vedic astrology. When it comes to the Western astrology, you cannot pinpoint the fact that why the Cancerian moon and the other Cancerian moon does not react the same way. This is the only point where Vedic astrology scores over the Western astrology. Otherwise, I respect the the Western astrology too, but this is where the Vedic astrology can give you an in-depth analysis, wherein if you open out the books that are written by the Western astrologers, you won't find that concept there. that is of the Nakshatras. So what happens that in Vedic astrology, each sign, let's suppose this is a Aries sign. This is a Aries sign followed by the Taurus sign, like that. In the Vedic astrology, each sign is further divided into the Nakshatras. That is, Nakshatras are the particular region, and there are since it's a whole circle of 360 degrees, and it's divided into the 27 Nakshatras, and one Nakshatra is of 13 degree 20 minutes. So if you multiply 13 degree 20 minutes into the 27 Nakshatras, you will get 360 degree. So all these signs are divided into, or the sky is divided into the Nakshatras. So while it's the sign Aries, but this particular section of Aries, that is 30 degree 20 minutes, then you will have another section of Aries which is 30 degree 20 minutes. Then you have another section of Aries. It extends up to this part, that is, it's 13 degree 20 minutes, wherein it controls only 3 degree 20 minutes of the Aries and 10 degrees in the Taurus part. And then again the concept follows in the Taurus thing. So while I'll give you an example, this particular area in the Aries sign is said to be controlled by the nakshatra named Ashwini, and then the other part is controlled by the nakshatra called Bhrani Nakshatra. And this up till this Taurus sign, this nakshatra is called the Kritika Nakshatra. Likewise, there are nakshatras, and the same Aries sign may have different personalities, because each of these regions, this region, and this particular region of Aries although they have the energies of Aries, yet they are very different in itself. This is where we further go into the intricacies of Vedic astrology, that an Aries person, you must have come across several Aries persons, several Aries moon personalities, yet they are very different from each other. And this is the reason why, because within that Aries sign itself is divided into the nakshatras, and each of these nakshatras further differ from each other. And then within the Ashwini nakshatra, each nakshatra is divided into the 4 parts. We call it the 4 padhas. So like this is divided into the 4 padhas, and each padha is of 3 degree 20 minutes. So if you multiply 3 degree 20 minutes into 4, you will get 13 degree 20 minutes. That is this complete Aries sign. So while this Ashwini nakshatra, this Ashwini Aries person might react totally different from the Bhrani Aries nakshatra, and the Bhrani's Aries nakshatra might react totally different from the Kritika Aries nakshatra, right? But now we go to let's suppose even somebody who is whose moon falls in this particular area. Suppose his moon is at 11 from anywhere from 0 to 13 degree 20 minutes of Aries. Then it can be further divided into the padhas, and each of the padha then has a separate quality. And that is why you can say here, the Aries, in the Aries sign, we can see first of all 3 different personalities, and then each of 3 different personalities. Here we have 4 padhas, here we have 4 padhas, here we will have only 1 padha, and the other 3 padhas will be in Taurus up till here, right? So what happens is that it's like Aries, within that Aries section itself, there are, this is 4 plus 1, 9 different, not 3, firstly it was 3 different, now it is the 9 different personalities. So within that Aries sign itself, there are 9 type of Aries personalities, and this is where Vedic astrology scores over the Western astrology. and let me validate it through examples now. Let's suppose this is a Vedic chart. And let's suppose Mars is placed here in Aries, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So Mars is placed in the Aries nakshatra. So what Mars does in the what exactly is Mars all about? Mars is all about courage, willpower, competition, sports. It's a fighting ability. It is that ignition, that burning fire within us to accomplish any goal that is or any task that is being designated to us. And what is sixth house? If you have watched the sixth house episode, I told in it that the sixth house is the house of hurdles, obstacles, competition, challenges. It's the house of diseases. It's the house of the unprivileged people. It's the house of lawyers. It's the house of the argumentative debates and discussions. It's the house of basically which deals with the hurdles and obstacles in life. So the presence of the planet Mars in the sixth house can make a person, either he could be since Mars also deals with medicine and it is in the house of diseases. This sixth house is also the house of diseases. So the presence of Mars in the sixth house could make a person a doctor, or it could also make, since Mars is the planet that is associated with sports, and sixth house represents challenges and competitions that are to be accomplished by us. It can also make somebody a sports person. Then what? Since this is the house of the unprivileged people, so a channelized aggression, not that fighting attitude of Mars, that he is fighting with a sword. That channelized aggression of Mars can make Mars fight for the unprivileged people. That is, he might take a stand for the unprivileged people, that these are the unprivileged people who shall be given the rights that they deserve. So here Mars can become a social worker. What else can Mars become here? Mars can become a doctor, Mars can become a sports person, Mars can become a social worker. And since this house has to do with, the sixth house is also the house of calculations, it's the house of analytics, it's the house of business, it's the house of doing all the comparative analysis and the in order to make the right decisions at the right time. So here it could show anybody who is involved in business, especially related to Mars. So what are the possible businesses that are related to Mars? Well, since Mars deals with sports, this person could be manufacturing the sports products, and since Mars deals with medicine, he could be manufacturing the medicine products or the life-saving drugs. And what else? Since Mars deals with chemicals, this person might be into any business that has to do with chemicals. Since Mars deals with fire, this person could be in any business which involves the use of fire. For example, extraction of metals, or any of the chemical processes, any of the industry which involves use of the chemical processes, those catalysts and those chemical reactions and all. And what else? So Mars can be in the business of wood, as wood is is represented by the planet Mars in the Vedic astrology. Then what else? Mars also is a planet that controls the electronics engineering, not the electric. Mars does not control the electronics and communication engineering, but it kind of the Mars planet controls the core electrical engineering, which has to do with wires, circuits, kind of a networking kind of a thing, that in computer, if you were to relate it, it's not a software kind of that you're making use of those softwares and the electronic and the communication devices like the like making the mobile sets or any wireless communication devices. But Mars is related with wherein you have to make the circuits with the physical that electrical wires and all. So he could be manufacturing any of those electrical wires, transformers. He could be manufacturing the AC/DC machines. He could be manufacturing the stabilizers. He could be manufacturing the tube lights. He could be manufacturing the fans or refrigerators or any of those electronic items. But now, if somebody was to ask me, or if I were to look at somebody's chart, then I could point out that this person, if Mars has some kind of relation with the 10th house, or is related to the 10th house in some manner or the other, then I could say that this person could be a doctor, could be a sports person, he could be a social worker, and he could be in any business related to Mars. And I told that in Mars, he could be in the business of wood, he could be in the business of chemicals, he could be in the business of electrical products, he could be manufacturing the sports goods, he could be manufacturing the medicine. And this is the reason why nobody is able to correctly point out, while some astrologer might tell you that since your Mars is related to the 10th house in some manner or the other, and it is placed in the 6th house, so you could be a doctor, while that person might be a social worker. So this is where that social worker gets totally pissed off, and he says that the subject of astrology is a total scam. It's a scandalous subject. And while this astrologer could tell this person is a social worker, he might actually turn out to be a sports person. And this is why the science of Vedic astrology is in its infancy, because nobody takes into account the other aspects which are very important, that is the nakshatra and the degrees. Now we know that Mars is placed in the 6th house, and these are the possible professions that he can get into. But if we were to point out which particular profession exactly will the Mars get into, then in that case we will have to make use of the nakshatras and the degrees concept, which I will be explaining you right now. Now guys, you might be familiar with the fact that I have drawn this chart again. So you might be familiar with the fact that Mars in the 6th house can lead to the can make a person a social worker, a doctor, any business. He can be in any business related to Mars. That is, he could be manufacturing chemicals, sport goods, any of the equipments, any industry that is related to fire. For example, the extraction of metals, those metallurgy industries, or any industry that manufactures the products via fire, or even the fire extinguishers manufacturer can be seen from the Mars in the 6th house. Then he could be into any business that has to do with wood or the electrical goods. And since Mars is the planet of medicine, and in the 6th house of business analytics, he could be also manufacturing the medicines or the drugs. And one more point that I missed in that previous where I was telling you that Mars in this 6th house of competition can also make a person, since Mars is that fighting ability, he is that soldier, so it can also make a person a policeman, he could be in military, or he could be a freedom fighter. Now if we have to make an accurate prediction that what exactly will Mars give the results in the 6th house as, this is where we bring the nakshatras into play. Now, as I told you that this is right from this to the point, this is the Aries region, and right from this to this is the Taurus region. This region of Aries is divided into the 3 nakshatras. This nakshatra as a whole, which is called the Ashwini nakshatra, that is which starts from 0 degree Aries to 13 degree 20 minutes Aries. Then Bhrani starts from 13 degree 20 minutes Aries to 26 degree 40 minutes. It will be 26 degree 40 minutes Aries. Then the third nakshatra is the Kritika nakshatra, a part of which is in the Aries sign, a part of which is in the Taurus sign. So the first part of it is of the Kritika Nakshatra is in the Aries sign. So the last 3 degrees, last 3 degree 20 minutes of the Aries are controlled by the Kritika Nakshatra. Now let's see how do we make these nakshatra to make the accurate predictions. And like I told you, each of these nakshatras are further divided into padhas, that is into the 4 parts, which again have the different properties. So not only does Ashwini differ from Bhrani and Bhrani differ from Kritika and Kritika differ from Ashwini, but within Ashwini itself, these 4 padhas differ from each other. And this is where we can pinpoint, we can exactly pinpoint that which exact profession is the person is into, or what exactly is his personality is like, and why the 2 Aries personalities differ from each other, or why the 2 people who have their Mars placed in the first 13 in the first 13 degree 20 minutes, they also differ with each other, because there are 4 padhas in Ashwinis, and each of these 4 padhas have the different properties. So studying about the Ashwini Nakshatra, its ruler is the planet Ketu. It's DT. Every nakshatra in Vedic astrology has a DT. Its DT is the Ashwins. The Ashwins, that is the Ashwins were the twins, the horse-headed twins, which were physicians to the gods. And its symbol is the head of the horse. So it's kind of a very active sign, very agile sign. So now we have deciphered out that Mars in 6th house can lead to all these professions, but which exactly will it lead to? Now let's suppose it is placed in the Ashwini Nakshatra. Ashwini Nakshatra ranges from 0 degree to 13 degree 20 minutes Aries. So since these are the physicians to the gods, so if Mars is placed in the 6th house, and it is in the first 13 degree 20 minutes, it can make a person a doctor or a physician, or he can also be a sports person who is into, since it is ruled by the horse, since it is the symbol of the horse, and horse are regularly on the move. They are the you must have occasionally heard of the horse races, those betting on the horse races. So horse is a planet that is associated with speed. So these people could also be in any kinds of sports where a lot of speed is involved. Especially I have seen in my personal studies that many of these people who have their Mars in the Ashwini Nakshatra, they are into the fields like go-karting. They have interest in go-karting. They later go on to become the Formula F1 drivers, any of those racing games where you are speeding your vehicle at the speed of light, or they could be athletes, that is someone like Usain Bolt who is running very fast. So can you now analyze that how with this help of this Ashwini Nakshatra we are able to point out that he could be a doctor, physician, he could be an athlete, or a F1 racer. So we have ruled out all the business concept, we have ruled out all the military concept, we have ruled out the social worker concept over here. Now second is the Bhrani Nakshatra. The Bhrani Nakshatra is controlled by the planet Venus, and its DT, and the DT of this nakshatra is the Yama, that is the god of death, or Yama is also called the god of actions and the material desires. And it's the symbol of planet Bhrani it's the female reproductive organ, which is called Yoni in Hindi. What Yoni in Hindi means, in English means it's the female reproductive organ. So Mars here could be a doctor, and he could be a sex, since it deals with the female reproductive organ. This particular part, which ranges from 13 degree 20 minutes Aries to 26 degree 40 minutes Aries, if Mars if the Mars is within these degrees, then he could be a sexologist, or he could be a gynecologist dealing with the female organs. So can you see how precisely we can use these nakshatras to finally decide that what this person will actually go into? Now the third part of this, the last part is controlled by the Kritika nakshatra. The Kritika nakshatra also controls the first 10 degrees of Taurus, but it also controls the last 3 degree 20 minutes of the Aries sign. So Kritika, it expands from 26 degree 40 minutes Aries right up to 30 degree Aries, since each sign ends at 30 degrees. So Kritika nakshatra has the Kritika nakshatra, like Bhrani was ruled by Venus, Ashwini was ruled by Ketu, Kritika is ruled by Sun, the planet Sun, and its deity is the fire god. Deity is the fire god, that is Agni. We call the fire god Agni in Hindi. So what this possible person could do, since it is its deity is the fire god, and its symbol, the symbol of Kritika nakshatra is the knife or a spear. So what this Kritika nakshatra person could become is that, since it is related to fire, so he could be into any business that is related to fire. He could be a fire extinguisher manufacturer. He could be into any business that has to do in the extraction of metals, where high amount of heat and the heat related stuff is involved. Since it is ruled by its deity is the fire god, then it has the symbol of knife and the spear. So there are high chances that the people whose Mars in the 6th house falls into the Kritika nakshatra, they use the knife. That is, knife is associated with surgeries. So instead of being a normal physician, these people could be surgeons. These people could be surgeons, or what else? These people could be knife is used in the military warfare. So these people could be in the surgeries or the military freedom fighter and the things like that. So can you now understand that how beneficial these nakshatras are, how astounding, and how these nakshatras are capacitated with such brilliance that they can help us pinpoint exactly that why the things is happening, why two Aries persons are reacting differently, since the Aries part is divided into the Aries section is divided into the 9 parts, then we can see 9 type of Aries personality. So if somebody says that he is a Aries moon personality, he could fall into any of these 9 sections. So this is where we pinpoint the stuff. Now here we say in the Kritika nakshatra, I have told you that he could be a surgeon, he could be in the military, and or he could be a freedom fighter. Now in order to further decide that whether he would be a surgeon or in the military, we would look at the property of this padha. This padha would also be different from the rest of the padhas. So based on the property of the particular padha, that is this 3 degree 20 degree region, we can further decide that whether he will be in military or whether he'll make use of that knife not in the military or in the warfare, but while doing the surgeries. So isn't it astounding, guys? Can you see how powerful this thing called nakshatra is, and how easy it is? I mean, with those examples, I just feel that I have made the stuff easy for you people. I'll give you one more example to validate how these nakshatras work.